The final game of the midweek Premier League card, Ali Moreno, Arsenal against Wolves. It was only a couple of weeks ago that the sides met at Molineux. Arsenal won by a goal to nil. Martinelli with that weird sending off for the two yellows. So does that make Arsenal favourites if they won away when they face Wolves at home on Thursday?
I suppose it's a really interesting matchup. It really is, and the outcome of this matchup may decide quite a few things. But let's just go back to that matchup that you just mentioned at the Molineux, where it felt like this was a phase of Arsenal that we had not seen in a long time. And it's not the passing and the movement of the ball and scoring goals. No. Toughness, character, fight. Being able to grind out a result, and then you go down a man with 20 minutes to go, and while you were under pressure, you defended and defended well. Let me repeat that, Arsenal. You defended and defended really, really well with an amount of toughness that we're not used to. That phase of Arsenal will serve them from here on out. Since then, you may have thought, well, Wolves were going to have a difficult time staying in the race, and whatever momentum they had going into that game, it was going to disappear. Well, it didn't. Actually, they beat Spurs and they beat Leicester. As for Arsenal, they haven't played much since then. They only played against Brentford at home, and while they were not great, they still got 3 points. Against Leicester, Wolves were out playing for long periods of time. They absorbed some pressure, and yet they got 3 points. So they both come into this game knowing that even when they're not at their best, they have been able to find ways to grind out results and win games. And so here we are, 6 against 7. And I just mentioned the outcome of this game may decide a lot of things for both of these teams. You have to think that the winner of this game puts themselves in an inside path, inside track to truly contend for a top 4 position. The loser may just find itself a little too far back with too many teams in between.
Do you think that Wolves have kind of gone under the radar this season simply because they didn't have the best start? So therefore, everyone's just kind of forgotten about them. And then suddenly it's like, oh yeah, that was a decent win against Spurs. That was a good win against Leicester. We might have to start taking them seriously. Have they kind of snuck up the inside and caught everyone by surprise?
They have, because we have been focused on the bigger names and the struggles of Manchester United and Solskjaer and Ragnick and whether Chris Armas can run a training session or not. And we have focused on Spurs and Antonio Conte and their struggles. And yet they go and they're able to somehow beat Manchester City. So we have those conversations, and the cute Cinderella story of West Ham. Are they going to be able to hang on? And while we're focusing and talking about these teams and the resurgence of Arsenal and what have you, Wolves have been like, hey, you guys can talk about them all you want. We're going to win a game here, win a game there, another game here, another game there. And these guys, all these other teams that we have mentioned, they haven't found any sort of consistency, while Wolves have. And so you have to say, in terms of momentum, they seem to be carrying that forward. That's why that result against Arsenal a few weeks ago was so surprising, because you thought that was going to be the turning point for Wolves, in that when they were going to be for real in this top 4, they were going to be a true player. But regardless, all these teams continue to lose, tie here, there, and everywhere. And Wolves have found a way to stay in the race. We're still not talking about Wolves. It feels like there's still an afterthought. We still think about Arsenal. We still talk about Manchester United and Spurs, and Wolves is just kind of there. I think they like it that way, the fact that they're just kind of there winning games while everybody else is struggling.
The interesting thing about Wolves is that we've spoken about no one really talking about them, and I don't even know if they get the respect that they deserve. However, their form this season has been based on a strong defence, and now that they're getting Pedro Neto back, Podence is in form, Raul Jimenez is starting to find the net. Again, Moutinho and Ruben Neves, the Portuguese combination. But what I noticed from the Leicester game as well, Leicester had a lot of the ball. Leicester had a lot of the chances as well. So Arsenal are likely to get chances in this game, despite the fact that Wolves have made themselves very hard to beat, because Arsenal are at home with a lot of talent there.
Yeah, there's every reason to think that Arsenal, if they're a serious contender for that top four position, should win this game. But that's part of the reason as to why Wolves are back in the competition. They're back in the race because, as we have just established, they have been overlooked. And I just don't think that Arsenal, even though there's been improvement, that they have reached the level to where they can afford to overlook anybody. Certainly not Wolves. Certainly a team that is right behind them should get all of their attention and should bring the very best performance from Arsenal. It's a test. It really is a test for both Arsenal and Wolves in saying, okay, which one of you are for real? Let me figure it out. Let me see it on the field. Show it to yourself. Show it to everybody else. We're for real. We're going to be here for the long haul. We're in this race. If you lose this game, probably not going to be talking about you all that often, unless you're Arsenal and people just like to talk about Arsenal simply because they're thinking that at some point they were going to get back to the levels that we have seen in the past. They're not quite there yet. But if they lose this game, I just don't see how they get into the top four.
Yeah, I think you summed up the importance of the fixture well. Just finally, it's two sides right now who are on the outside looking in to the top four. If Arsenal can find their best form starting on Friday and on Thursday and getting 3 points against Wolves, what chance do they have if they can maintain a good form between now and the end of the season of pipping whoever it is to finish fourth in the Champions League spot next season?
I think they have an extremely good chance because the pressure is going to be on Manchester United. The conversation is all focused on Manchester United and who they are, who they want to be, who they pretend to be, who they think they're going to be. And all those images seem to be different. What we see from Manchester United is that they struggle to win a single game. It's never easy. It's always difficult. It's always, oh my goodness, are we going to get the call here and there? Are we going to get the late goal? Are we going to make the big save? While all that conversation is going on with Manchester United and everybody's focusing on Ralph Rangnick and what's ahead for Manchester United and who's running the training sessions, Arsenal can just kind of say, we're over here, just kind of lurking, hanging out in the dark, like people like to do, just come out and bite you, come out and jump at you. And when Manchester United realizes it, it may just be too late. So while the pressure will be on Manchester United, if Arsenal is able to beat Wolves, then they put themselves in a position where if Manchester United falters, they're right there.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.